Spawncast episode 401. We were late because we were running tech support, and then we were also trying to wake up Sean. Sean,
it's like a
Sean
form of tech support.
Yeah, Sean was I think napping or asleep or something. But Celia was trying to figure out her microphone. That's what we were doing the whole time. We had like the screen up here, and I'm writing it off on Windows 11 or some kind of update that happened. That would be my assumption at this point. We'll probably see Sean will pop in soon, but we had to wake him up. Even you guys making fun of the Knicks didn't do it. I saw it in the chat. But we're live. We're doing a podcast on Saturday, mostly because yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I just assumed people on the cast had stuff happening or things to do. So figured we would go over some of the stuff here on Saturday. There were a couple things I wanted to just kind of go over here, and I wanted to get Sean's take on some of this because he's been stirring up a lot of reactions online over his Sony talk. So I wanted to bring him in here so he could explain himself.
Sean making reactionary content? No,
yeah, I know, right?
No way.
he was quite busy doing it. He's getting a lot of people on Twitter were riled up about him, and then on YouTube. But most of it was just about Sony and their recent state of play, which I do have the entire list of everything that they announced, so we can go through it. And then also just their roadmap, I guess, coming up here and what they have. Because they have some games, but it doesn't seem to be clicking with as many people. All right, Celia, let's hear it.
I think the mic still sounds bad, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have that mic. That's not coming through your headset, by the way.
It's not coming through the headset.
Tap the headset mic. Nope.
This is just for show then? Oh
yes.
my god. I'll try to mess with more
it's
stuff.
It's like when they put the microphone on the table for any of those like late night shows, but really they're just wearing lapel mics. Yeah, that's what you have right now.
Life is hard.
You have to go into settings and see if you can maybe set it to that.
Okay, let me know if I suddenly my audio suddenly gets better. But until then, I'm really sorry to all the audio listeners.
It is live. Shout out to the viewers here. Random time, technically, and then we also have the state of play this week coming up. People are going back and forth. There's gonna be a Nintendo Direct because then the following week, Celia, there appears to be a Pokemon Direct, Pokemon Presents, some kind of event for that. So there's actually a lot happening here to close out the month as well. I figure we'd touch on some of the stuff around the Direct, and of course, Celia, being the Pokemon person that she is, can lead into the Pokemon Presents as well. So I assume the rest of this way now, Celia, the chat's just going to be trying to give you tech support the whole time. So I believe in the YouTube chat.
We could have an after show of everyone helping me figure out what the hell is going on.
Honestly, that's you. The funny thing is, if you ever need tech support, I bet you one of the best places to go is to just go live on YouTube and just have the chat help you figure it out.
Sounds good.
Shout out to Fransby or Todd Howard. We're not sure. 20 gifted Spawnwave memberships. Give a shout out to Fransby if you got a gifted membership there in the chat. Look, Sean's here too.
Hi, Sean.
What are we doing here?
You missed it. It was a whole thing before. It was a whole event before we even went live. A lot was happening. We were trying to get Celia's microphone working, and then we figured you were still napping. So the chat was just making fun of the Knicks trying to wake you up.
Make fun of the third best team in the East? Suck my ass. I'm sure your team's not in the top 3.
First at being last at top 3. Damn.
So they were. I mean, it worked. Look, you woke up in potentially a rage, threw your Knicks hat on, jumped on front of the camera immediately.
Pretty much.
We were holding out for you anyway, Sean, because you keep annoying people online. So I figured you'd be able to explain yourself a bit more rather than just the random tweets on Twitter.
They hated Jesus because he spoke the truth as well.
Gosh. Well, at least this way you can maybe explain a bit more as to what you're trying to say with some of the PlayStation talk.
Sure.
But shout out to everyone piling in here. I was going to even go live a little earlier, but then we were working through Celia's headset situation. So yeah, if anyone in the chat has any recommendations, she has an Elgato microphone that was not showing up in her. Yeah, there it is. That was not showing up in her Windows sound mixer. And
Is it plugged
right
in?
now she's using, what are you using now? Like, it's like the webcam mic or?
Yeah, so I have my Logitech webcam mic, which apparently has been getting the audio the whole entire time. But the thing is, though, is on Discord, like I use this and it's fine. And
Go
so
to-
this mic.
Did
is
you
it
go to
working?
settings?
Yes.
we did all
I
this.
was sharing my
Audio,
screen.
microphone.
She shared her
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Shared and
Tried
everything.
to turn it
It was-
on and off.
Yeah,
Like we tried
fine.
everything. I shared my screen for troubleshooting. I don't know. I believe that my computer is sentient and hates me. So sorry again, guys. I'm working on it.
It's fine. At least you showed up unlike everyone else.
Oh man. It was yeah, it was a whole thing. We were trying to figure it out. But hey, if anyone in the chat has some recommendations. She's on like Windows 11. Who knows? Windows 11 does some weird stuff. Whenever it updates, seriously, I just like hold my breath and hope that nothing is broken afterwards. It's like that. But episode 401. How are you doing? How you doing anyway, Sean? How you doing over there?
I'm fine. Just started snowing.
It's flooring here earlier. Not snowing, but
No, it's snowing here. I think we're supposed to get like, I don't know. They keep changing it, 3 to 5 inches maybe.
It's like
the snow doesn't really affect you
for us
anymore, though.
midweek. Yeah, you don't even leave your house. It doesn't matter.
Nah, I've been talking with this girl who owns like a landscaping and snowplow company. And she's like, she talks about like having to like scoop out people's driveways and stuff. She has like all these tractors. I'm like, you're 5 feet tall. Like, what are you doing? I get it. I make it work. Okay.
You said it was a company. Is solo employee company?
She owns the company. It's her. I'm like, hire some fucking employees. I don't trust anyone. It's like, I like your style. I like your style.
Does she know who Mr. Plow is?
Yes, I send her Simpsons gift all the time.
Oh, okay, good.
Yesterday, I sent her the I choose you gift.
The Ralph.
That's cute.
That's how you know it's getting serious. Jeez.
Hey. Let's see. We have, I said, the state of play. We believe people think there's a Nintendo Direct this week. We'll see. We can discuss that a bit.
Is that a thing
a few
again? They
other
think
things
that
as
every week.
I noticed that too. Yes, but this is the week. This might be the week, Sean. All right, this might be the week.
Pornhub Brazil.
And then it's funny, as we were talking about that PlayStation outage, it was popping up last time we were doing the podcast. Like everyone was kind of showing up saying it ended up being out for like 24 or so hours, and that was a whole thing, which Sony did come back with at least some kind of at least something for the people. 5 days. All right, let's go over this. I think we have enough people in here now. Let's go over this Sony State of Play. I have it here line by line. There we go. So the State of Play was like 45 minutes long. It definitely went into overtime for their last reveal. But going into the State of Play, let me see, what were people's expectations for this anyway? I thought about this actually after the fact because of the reactions. But it being the first one of the year for Sony, which technically there's into like the second half of the generation now. And it seemed like people were expecting one thing really from the State of Play. And I don't know if they got what they were looking for. But going into this, Sean, what were you looking for?
Couple first party games releasing in 2025.
What about you, Celia?
So I made a unrealistic wish list of things I knew I wasn't going to get. So got none of those. That's happened. I don't know. I had low expectations. You know, right now the games industry is in a weird place, and you know, titles take a long time to make. So I wasn't expecting a lot of things, but we did get a bunch of stuff I was excited for. So I don't know. I went in with no expectations. I guess that's a long story short about that.
Okay, Evan, some of the games here, I mean, you see them on PC as well. I don't know if there's anything you were Monster Hunter, maybe that's like your next big game.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else is just kind of like whatever.
Okay, you still on Monster Hunter though for the end of the month? You gonna pick that up?
Probably. I'll take a look at it. Can't wait to solo that game.
Okay. I mean, that's what started out the State of Play, which I was expecting that. I figured they would start out with a Monster Hunter. Well, maybe not start out, but at least have Monster Hunter there with like the big push towards the end of the month. Now, this being the next big event, it's gonna have a free update though in the spring. So it seems like, I guess, as you go along, like they did with Rise and World, they just keep adding on content to keep it interesting. So that's gonna be a big online game, I assume, for you, Evan.
Probably.
Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It is coming out August 29th. This is it's funny, it's technically one of the more simplistic games, I guess, here compared to like, big 3D games and stuff. Man, this looks good.
Yeah.
This is like that situation where Sega, like how we've seen Konami, just like just pass games off to studios and not interfere too much. I mean,
we had Konami's big game at this event too.
That's true. But it
gives you a lot of faith
case,
that Konami's back, man.
But in this case, Shinobi, I mean, I of course it's from the studio that did Streets of Rage 4, so Dotemu, so they already kind of have that pedigree, but the animation, the art style, I mean, gameplay, it looks awesome, and it's coming out towards the end of the year, August 29th.
Felt a little Newgroundsy to me, like old Newgrounds games.
See, but people said the same thing about Streets of Rage 4.
But that's the thing. I played Streets of Rage 4, and it had a lot of like ambient animation. But I mean, editing Newswave, I had John talking about how amazing it looked and how really smooth it looked, and I was watching still backgrounds, like the meteors coming in from above that just weren't moving, and like I don't know. It felt kind of like phoned in a little.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. That
like
really,
look, it's just slight parallaxing. This is good. That's pretty good. But there was the scene at the beginning where there were like meteors coming in from the sky, and it was just a still picture.
I mean, they still got time to flesh that out, though, if they need to.
You notice the little pause on impact, like when he swings and hits somebody.
Yeah.
There was that little millisecond pause.
The time thing was pretty big
that.
on the PS2 title, because the whole concept of the PS2 title was to try to combo a bunch of kills together in a sequence within a time limit to then get like a big animation, all the symbols going on, and then everyone exploding all at once.
But you also have to remember, it's probably going to be like $40. I don't think this will be a $60 or $70 game.
What if it goes 60? Like just out of nowhere. It's Dotemu, so it's got to be 40.
Yes, Streets of Rage 4 was 30, right? 30 or 40?
So.
Yeah, it wasn't full price. I would like to get a physical copy of this though.
I'm sure limited run games will give you one in 2027.
Yeah. The pre-order. I mean,
I'm just picturing the cover art here, just kind of looking at this. Like that would be awesome looking. I like the art style. I like the animation. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. But it'll be technically a smaller game, right? Quote unquote. And that's fine. So we expect that $30 to $40 price tag on it.
Coming to everything.
Yes. It is. We also have Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. They have a closed network test next week. Yeah, that's the thing. This show started off pretty. I feel like this show started off pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know my stance on seeing more Monster Hunter Wilds, like. It's just
but you understand why it's there.
I understand
like you get
why
it.
It's there. Yeah. But yeah, these two were great, in-depth looks. I think both games look great. Both games are games I want to play. I'm interested to see the roster because they did say that it was going to be more Sega inspired than just Sonic inspired.
I know who you want in there.
Goddamn right. They have been. Well, I mean, you could even give me Mr. Hazuki as well.
Ryu.
Yeah, he's been in fucking. He was one in All Stars Transformed, I think was the name of the game. But yeah, this looks really good. I am curious. I hope that this is a Switch 2 game, or that there is a Switch 2 version, because I could see that dimensional rift thing, and kind of slowing down the Switch, and I would like 60 frames on it.
Yeah, that's just how StreamYard just struggles with any kind of video.
Well, no. I'm saying. I'm
talking about like people in the chat who are saying that it was struggling. Yeah, it's just StreamYard. I think on the playback, it's because on my end right here it looks normal. I think on the playback, it would, like if I uploaded what I'm recording here, it would probably come up fine.
But yeah, I think it looks awesome. It looks super fun. It looks. It looks more like they're trying a bit, because some of those Sonic racing games are just kind of like, the last one was kind of like, nah, here you go.
Yeah, they're expecting people who own a Sonic mask to purchase it, like,
right? But this actually has some like, it looks like it's got some meat to it.
You're jumping between dimensions too, or like just different worlds all at once. How does that I don't know how that works. Like, if whoever the first one is through the portal, does everyone else then go to that world too, or they're like two separate tracks in different worlds, and they figure out how to make them the same length, basically, so everyone can race through different ones if they want?
Could make the tracks interesting, because at times they did show like 2 or 3 portals, and then right as everyone gets to it, one comes down. So I mean, multiple games could play a little differently depending on what it starts you out in for the initial portal you hit.
That'd be
I think
so
it look
cool.
fine. Yeah, you thought it looked good too, Celia?
Yeah. Wait, is my audio coming out okay, or is it the same?
It's doing what it's doing.
You're here.
Let it ride.
That's more than most people can say.
I was trying. Okay, well, anyways, yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think, like, I agree with you guys. It looks really good. I really hope, like, you could play, like, you know, go through the portal and play different worlds, because it's, you know, it would spice things up a little bit of, like, you don't know what to expect for it. We'll see though. But did they give a release date for this game yet?
We just had the closed network test is next week on the 21st.
It's probably a 2025er.
Yeah,
I would expect it to be this. It'll probably be second half.
Are any of you guys going to join the closed network test?
No.
Is it only on PlayStation?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they just mentioned that it's just a closed network test.
If it's on Xbox, I'll do it.
Sign up for the closed network test on February 21st. Wish list now.
Is that when I sign up? Oh, it might just be
things
Steam,
down there are PlayStation.
Yeah, but that's just for marketing. Because like Shinobi had the same thing, and that's a multi-platter. Like 95%.
Oh, the cover. I assume that's like the cover too. That actually would look cool on like front of the box art right there.
We have the internet. Let's find out.
All right. Then Evan will figure it out. He'll look into this.
Oh, so chat's saying it's only on PS, or at least, yeah, a couple people are saying it's only PS5. I guess I'll dust off the old stink box. And
oh man. Next up, we had Digimon Storytime Stranger. It is 2025, and I didn't see. Let me just verify here. I didn't see a PS4 logo on this one. So I think even in this case, Bandai is moving on from the PS4, at least for this game. You know, Digimon Survive just didn't really click with me. I think it maybe because it was more that visual novel style. This looks more like Cyber Sleuth, I think. So it looks like it'll be more of just an RPG, like a JRPG style, turn-based, I guess.
Is Digimon still popping like that?
To me, it is.
I feel like it's still middling. I don't think it's lost interest.
I think what kind of took me back was this looks kind of like a high budget game, or not super high, but obviously, you know, there's some effort being put into this, and I was kind of like, wow, imagine what the Pokemon company can do.
It looks a little more put together than Pokemon games. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
The
I think
website does say PS5.
Like they still got like shows and movies and shit like that.
I don't know. Is the show still? I remember the show ran forever. I was surprised how long it
Monsters.
ran. I don't know. I mean,
they had a new anime a couple years ago. I'm not sure if they're continuing on with the series, but it could be a launching point for them. I don't know. I love Digimon so much, and I'm excited for this. Do I have a great time with all Digimon games? No, but I'm still gonna play it. Like, Digimon's forever.
It was definitely like really popular back in the day. Although we had games, I remember with the first, like the PS1 Digimon, I wouldn't mind seeing that get added to like the PlayStation Network Premium thing or something, but I don't remember that being a very good game.
Yeah,
it got better, I think, later on.
Games aren't the franchise strong suit, but I don't care. I'll play every single one of them.
Yeah,
no, Cyber Sleuth was better.
2023.
Okay, yeah, Cyber Sleuth was definitely better though. But then Digimon Survive for me felt like a step backwards. But that's just kind of me with the visual novel stuff, I think.
I know Jake Hunter.
Lost Soul Aside was next. This game has been in development for so long. I think it started out with one person making it. And finally, it looks like it's ready to come out. Now, this is definitely like a Devil May Cry style game. Like that's clearly what their inspiration was for this. Yeah, see, Sean's about to say something immediately. All right, Sean.
It's
What
the
is
new.
it?
It's the new thing. Do you notice how many games are like the gameplay is the exact same? It's just swap out the character, swap out the environment. Like
Okay,
it seems like this is becoming a trend. Which I mean,
the
I'm not saying that
over-the-top
that's
action.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing,
Yeah,
but it's definitely a lot more prevalent than it was. I would even say like 5-6 years ago. It seems like every company is doing a game like this, and obviously some of them are coming from China.
Oh, that looks cool.
And it looks cool, but it's like there's another game where it's like the same thing later on, and I was just like, another one of these.
Well, there are a lot of like third-party companies you can buy assets for games like this. Then you can get like whole packages and stuff, and as well the engines that they're built on have a lot of built-in physics effects and things you can easily pull on without much effort. Which that's why we see, if you watch this, you're seeing all the like leaves and all the light balls and everything. It just looks like Warframe at this point because it's easier for games to achieve that visual aesthetic.
And I'm not saying it's bad, like at all. I'm
No,
just saying it seems like there's a large influx of them all of a sudden.
Well, think of it this way: something like this is easy enough for probably a small group to make, so that the tech where it's at now for how you can make a game should be easier for just anyone to achieve something visually this strong with a small group. Whereas before, what was it? It's like RPG Maker was the thing like one person could do to make like a cool little two-dimensional. This is going to be more the standard that you have access to as like a small development group.
Well, this was part of their China Hero project, and I feel like this was one of the first ones I remember really being announced as part of that initiative. And it's just been, I think, 2015, 2016. So it's been a long time. And I mean, you get that kind of backing. Obviously, more investors have come in since it's been going on for so long, and they've staffed up. So I think this is going to be a fun game to check out. But I get what you're saying, Sean. We're seeing more and more of these over the top action, Devil May Cry inspired kind of games. But I will say this: for the longest time, we've been getting Souls games.
Yes,
like constantly. So
it's Souls, roguelike, and this is like the new hot shit.
So after going through like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, after going through that, I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing more of this as opposed to every game being like, hey, we're doing a lot of soul stuff in this. It's like, I don't know if I always need that. Like, it's okay.
But you also have Ninja Gaiden coming out this year as well.
Yes. Yep. Like I was, after going through 2 Black, now I'm like, oh yeah, really ready for 4 now, because it's weird because they're still action games, but the other one's more punishing and has other elements to it, whereas the standard action game is just much more arcadey, and maybe it's less stats and stuff that are involved too that help. I don't know. It feels way different. So I don't mind having these, but you're right. Eventually they do start looking the same, and you just get too many of them, and you're like, man, where do those Souls games go? Let's see. Next up we had. Okay, well, the demo for Pirate or Yakuza Like a Dragon Pirate in Hawaii. I think that's right. Yakuza in Hawaii. That title keeps throwing me off. I don't know if that's just me. Anyway, the demo's out. Should be out now. Yeah, it's available now.
It's a short.
I have not played it.
How short is it? I haven't played it yet, but I'm really excited.
I just seen people talking about that. It was mad short.
Okay. Duly noted. I'm a Majima fan. Like, I love the Yakuza. I mean, the Like a Dragon series. I guess now they're leaning into that. But I really like the franchise. I'm really excited how they're going to lean into Majima, and they're doing a whole unique story. I don't want to give spoilers of what I've heard from the game, but it seems really cool. I like the pirate thing. I'm probably going to play the demo today. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out when it drops next week. Friday, right? Yeah, it's on Friday. And then Dave the Diver. There's Dave Diver crossover for all the Dave Diver fans out there. All right. Next we have Splitgate 2, which
we're not playing this. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. We're not playing.
I'm gonna play it. I'll play there's like an alpha. Okay. And then we have WWE 2K25.
Steaming pile of shit
that you're gonna play every day.
I mean, I'm gonna play it so I can dominate with Hogan online. But holy shit, the island They need to burn this island to the ground. This is the worst thing I've ever seen implemented into a wrestling game. I would rather play WCW Backstage Assault, a wrestling game that does not feature a wrestling ring, than play this fucking nonsense microtransaction laden bullshit. Oh, wow. You could buy a swoosh fucking Nike t-shirt. You go to Goodwill and buy a swoosh Nike t-shirt for $4 off the rack. And at least, you'll be able to wear it in real life, not in a fucking video game. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
I gotta ask you, Sean.
Go on, Celia. Okay. So, side note. So, I was live reacting to the State of Play with the Spawncast Discord, and all of us were like, "Wow, a wrestling game! Sean's gonna love this. It's gonna be the one thing he likes in this direct."
No, the problem.
We all were like, so happy for you, and I'm sitting here being like, what's your opinion? You're looking at the camera and you're like, this is shit, I hate it, burn it to the ground, fuck them.
It's the island portion of it that I don't like.
I know, it's just funny. I was so excited for you.
Wait, Sean, this is similar to the NBA 2K stuff.
Another absolute piece of shit nonsense microtransaction. Take your parents' credit card and run it up sort of thing.
What am I about to get into here with this island business then, since you're aware of the NBA stuff?
You buy fucking nonsense and clothes to accessorize your person with real money, with virtual currency that you have to spend real money on. I'm sure there will be some sort of created wrestler that you take through the island as well, and then play online with it as well. And then, I'm sure stats. Yeah, you'll gain some stats from doing a match, but hey, spend $30 and you could get a boost in your player stats. It's just OJ isn't the NBA expert. I am the NBA expert. OJ doesn't even watch basketball, I don't think.
All right, let's so WWE 2K25, I'll be picking it up. Sean probably will at some point.
Yeah, I'll pick it up. I'm not gonna get
it day one.
I'll get it. I'm not gonna get the early edition I did last year, but I'll pick it up.
Okay. Any Borderlands fans? Any pitch for Borderlands 4 is coming out.
I thought he was canceled. I thought Randy was
him.
I thought he was in the shit house, wasn't he? And then he's fucking here working with PlayStation. Interesting.
September 23rd. And also there's gonna be a State of Play this spring. So that's interesting that they're going to have a dedicated State of Play through Sony for it. But September 23rd, situation there, 2K and we'll take two. And they're positioning this in September. When's GTA 6 coming out?
I don't know, John. I mean, I don't know if there's. I mean, people are going to buy GTA 6 regardless. Borderlands fans are going to buy Borderlands.
You feel like they wouldn't want to put them right next to each other. I mean, this is at the end of September. I don't think GTA 6 would come out before that because we don't even have a new trailer for it this year. So
in October.
Yeah, but all developers have the same tool in the toolbox, which is we need to polish it a bit more. We're going to push it back a couple months.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to lose hope for that 2025 release for GTA 6 at this point. So I would November maybe for GTA 6, but and once I saw that Borderlands 4 release date, I was like, GTA 6 in 2025 might not be a thing.
But they told
Split
the
Fiction.
Investors.
Anyone getting Split Fiction?
I am a big fan of Mr. Ferris and his mentality. I've never played one of his games, and I don't think I ever will.
Okay.
It takes two, this, not my cup of tea.
You might like A Way Out. You probably think it's funny.
Yeah, that one's not bad. That would at least look somewhat interesting. But I like the guy though, so I wish him success.
Nate and I escaped from prison in A Way Out. It was kind of funny.
Remember that time we did an ad for something, and I was in prison, and you were a cop, and you abused me? I remember.
Was that in what game was that?
What's the name of it? It was a Rec Room.
Oh, that's because it turned into a first-person shooter, and I just immediate no regard for just immediate judging in 2 seconds. So I just ran through everyone, and Sean was outside shooting baskets, and I walk out with like a 12 gauge and just start taking care of the yard. I will be playing Split Fiction though.
Same. I'm
We
really
should play
excited.
together.
Yeah, we could. Okay, so I know it's local co-op. Is it also online, or is it only local?
Don't they talk
It will
about
be
how
online.
only one person does need the copy though? Like, wasn't there a
Only
way?
one person needs to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, because I'm excited about it because it comes out March 6th, and my sister's going to be coming down that week. So I'm going to play with her. And I don't know, it seems
Fuck
really
you, John.
cool. Yeah, I'll play with you too, John. But
I think Ryan and I were gonna play through it.
No, he
It's
hates
beautiful.
Click R3.
you. You didn't even do it. You didn't even do a click R3 fucking after the state of play. That's how much he hates
We
it.
got it coming up next week.
right on time.
Right as
Hey.
the iron cools completely off.
Got to talk about this crazy person who was asking where the PlayStation games were on Twitter. You should have seen it. It was crazy.
Mm.
Celia, you're gonna play this though. I will be playing it as well. I think it looks pretty interesting. So
yeah, like I really enjoyed It Takes Two. Like that game was phenomenal, and I felt really sad when we completed it because I was like, oh, I just want more. I just want more content. And this looks like an extension of that with like, a whole new story, obviously. And I really like the idea, like the concept of it. And there's like a lot of like little like asides, that they mentioned the dialogue where it's like, oh, this was based off my sister. Like, I made this story around my dad because it's like all I have of him. And it feels very like there's a lot of, family turmoil or like, I don't know, a lot of things like that in there. And I'm like, I can't wait to cry over fictional characters. It's going to be a good time.
we had, Directive 8020.
Yes,
As you're kind of seeing here.
It's
like a horror sci-fi in space. What do you think, Sean?
Well, see, I think the twist is, in most of these games, you're trying to survive from, an entity or something that's trying to kill you. I think this game, from what I gathered, it feels more to me, it's more going to be based on your person should you kill the other people that are in your thing because they may be infected or taken over or something like that. This was one of my highlights. Not my favorite, but this was one of my highlights because I really like these. Like, people don't understand that I actually like these games. I'm a big fan of Until Dawn.
And stuff.
I'm a fan of The Quarry, but these games are either really good or really shit. Like, it seems like there's the what is it, Dark Pictures or whatever. It just seems like there's it seems like they're either really good or they're really bad. But this one, I think it looks really good. I'm interested in it.
Okay. Good stuff. That's actually coming out. We got a release date for that, October 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay.
Good for
actually, that
Halloween
makes sense,
season.
right? Like the Halloween season. Yeah, perfect. See, we have Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic.
Fuck
June
yeah.
13th. Okay, good. Well, thank you. I do want to get this up here. The Midnight Walk. VR game, by the way, Sean. There you go. Now you're excited for the VR game. I mean, hey, you like Batman?
Yeah, Batman, because it's fucking Batman.
This is Batman.
Not some.
This
weird...
game looks weird though. Look at
it looks. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of Tim Burton-esque, which I usually kind of dig, but I don't know. I mean, it's also not a. It's also not only a VR game. You can play it on standard PS5.
Well, if you ever, you probably didn't, but Lost in Random, a game from forever ago.
Go fuck yourself. I did play that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
This is from the guy behind that.
Oh, really?
Look at it. Then watch the Lost in Random trailer. This is that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got vibes from it, but I didn't put two and two together with that. Oh, that's kind of interesting, then.
Has like the stop motion kind of thing to it too going on.
Yeah, Lost in Random was super cool.
Dude, I love Manny Dex and all. Oh, it was hilarious.
Huh. Okay. Midnight Walk. There you go. That one is. I got the release on that one too. That one's coming out May 8th. So it's only 3 months away. Okay. Why you interested in that one, Evan?
It could be. Lost in Random was fun, and they play around with some interesting game mechanics usually. So depending on what they do, could be good.
Okay. Darwin's Paradox.
Konami's back, baby.
Konami's back. It's 2025. Says he plays an octopus escaping a facility.
The fans wanted
All
a
right.
stealth game. They get a stealth game.
We had a new Warriors game that was announced here. Actually, Shadow Drop too.
Roguelike.
Warriors Abyss. Yeah, a roguelike Warriors game. It's random. I mean, hey, there's a Shadow Drop there too. At least we had one. So there you go, Sean. You got your roguelike game that you're looking for.
Thank God.
I know you're really excited for that. Hey, Onimusha too.
Yeah, that looks dope.
May 23rd.
I'm not pre-ordering it, Capcom. Kiss my ass, but no, that looks dope.
Yeah. I'm glad. I wonder if they're gonna. I assume they're gonna keep going. Like we get.
Well, the dude from 3 said that he would be down to do it, so hopefully they do it.
Oh yeah, they got to at least do 3, right? Like, come on, that's the one a lot of people remember and look back on
because there was modern elements to it.
Yeah. But they said they redid some of the controls in here for the second one, so I'll be checking that out when it drops. That is that's actually coming up pretty soon as well. That's May 23rd, so 3 months out of that one. And then they showed Way of the Sword. They actually had gameplay for it. So here we are again with Capcom showing up Onimusha, even though they kind of already went over it in their own event. It's like, I guess why not put them next to Sony in the State of Play? That's 2026 though, so we still got some time. Probably like 14 months. All right, Sean. There you go. Metal Gear Solid Delta. It is kind of a shame. This is one of those times where it is I think a shame that we did have the trailer leak out early because we already knew this was going to happen.
I didn't watch it though because I figured it was going to be here. It looks great. I think and I'm not saying it's bad, but I think Ocelot and the Sorrow, they look more different than everyone else does. Like it looks like they did more tinkering with their faces and stuff like that. As far as the way they look, but no, this looks phenomenal. I can't wait to play it. I like the little teaser at the end. I don't know if like Ocelot. Yeah, he looks kind of different.
He does look a little different. You're right.
His hair is different and stuff like that. But then again, I'm just I've played this game a million times. The Ape Escape thing, which Bomberman on the Xbox. Do you know that?
What is it?
So the Ape Escape portion. Mm-hmm. It's not the ape, it's Bomberman on the Xbox that you're
really
shooting. Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't realize that. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not going to use the ape in the Xbox version. I get that. That's actually funny. I didn't realize that. There it is though. You got your release date, Sean. August 8th. Kind of I was hoping that was a first half of 2025. But
well, it's supposed to be 2024 originally.
Yeah.
So makes you wonder. Maybe they're putting in some online gameplay. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe Konami just gave him more time. That maybe they saw what happened with Silent Hill 2 that worked out for him. Okay, let's give more time for Delta and make sure it's good. So, from what they've shown so far, it looks awesome, and hopefully that means they have plans to continue. And I guess the next one would be just Metal Gear Solid. So,
well, the next one's probably Collection 2.
Oh, I mean, like their big remake. You're right, the Collection 2 though, because they have to get they got to get 4 off the PS3.
Yeah,
got to get that at least into a collection, and then surround it with obviously Metal Gear Acid.
I mean, what about you got Portable Ops? You got
I guess they could throw that in there. Everyone wants Metal Gear Acid though.
Nobody wants acid. You gaslighting piece of shit.
Hell Is Us was up next. That's September 4th. This game's coming out. I think actually it looks pretty good. I don't have like a lot of history or been following anything about this game really, but
Peace Walker. There you go.
Peace Walker. Yeah, you could do that.
Throw Revengeance in there.
What do you think, Evan? You on Hell Is Us? You playing this?
Nothing really stood out for me.
Okay. I mean, it looks cool. I just have to see more about it. There it is. Rogue Factor. Next, we had Lies of P Overture. It's the DLC for it. It's summer 2025. I like Lies of P. The problem with these games, and I know it's not just me, like the Souls games, if you haven't played it for a while and you go back, it's just it's annoying because I just forget everything about the game for the most part. So I had to get used to it and spend like 2 hours doing that. But I did like Lies of P. It was very good. So you'll get a chance to check it out. This still is just summer 2025. Dreams of Another. I think that's the game where you use a gun to create stuff.
Oh, that's that was Boykin or something. His fucking name was a game by Boyan. And then you look well, he was a music composer for Little Big Planet. And I guess everyone's supposed to know who Boyan is based on that. So I just thought that was weird. Like a game by Boyan. And then Boyan came out and was talking about it. It's like, oh, wow, it's Boyan.
I mean, it definitely has a really striking art style that they have set up here. But I just thought it was funny that it's like, get your AK-47 out and start creating life. It's like, okay.
Hey, that's how Boyan rolls, baby.
It's art, guys. I'm excited about this game. It looks really unique. And though it wouldn't be as like type of game that I would usually play whenever there is like a different, like, I guess,
Bayon. There it is.
That's different.
You got to show when Bayon comes and talks too.
I'm interested. I don't know. It's I'll have to see how the mechanics work in this game. PSVR 2 though. There you go.
Bayon doesn't fuck around. Look at him. Look at him. What's up, bitches? I'm Bayon. Yeah, it's me. What's my last name? I'm like Prince. I don't have a fucking full name. Bayon.
Yeah, that hat is only meant for people with one name.
Yeah, I mean, not wrong.
All right, here we go. This is it. There you go, Sean. Okay. Is this the most controversial part about this entire thing? It's this, right?
It's the funniest part. A game that you didn't like and you wouldn't greenlight a sequel to it because it didn't receive well critically, but you remaster it. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the reviews from the usual suspects on this game, because back when this game came out, the usual suspects weren't quite as vocal, but they all reviewed it the way you would expect them to review it. And so I am very interested to see how reviews go for this, if it's about the game or about, some weird personal
a lot bigger.
investment in it. But just absolutely silly. Okay,
question. So this is not a type of game that I would play. So I did not pay attention to the release of the initial one. So is this the one with the zombie bear that you couldn't kill? Or like, what was wrong with this game? I don't remember.
I think you can kill it.
It was kind of, yeah, it was buggy when it first came out, but that wasn't one of the main focuses of the reviews. The main focuses was on like the lead character and the way he acts like a white dude, like a straight white guy, and it was like a whole big thing.
Okay.
I mean, that was part of it. This came out when zombie games were hyper saturated. That was one of the big things I remember. It was at the tail end and no one cared. But this had a weird life because for years after it released, I keep seeing people go, I never played it, let me try it. And then they beat it and they're like, this is actually not bad. And like that just keeps going, where just all these people who didn't pick it up because everyone was like, don't buy it, it's just boring. And then they're like, this isn't bad at all. This is actually kind of fun. Because
like you said, you weren't hyper saturated with the genre of stuff.
So it just was poor timing for this release rather than a bad game.
I think so.
I think timing was a huge issue.
Yeah, because it was just, there was too many fucking zombie games like that.
So why are we making really fun of the... Okay. So just so I can understand correctly on this. Mm-hmm. So it was poorly received because it was oversaturated market. Then why are we making fun of
by consumers? Well, because it's already has a PS5 patch.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know anything about this, so I'm like, okay.
It already looks pretty good. It runs at 60 frames on the PS5, and it came out in 2019. The thing they keep doing, and I almost wonder if this would go over better for people. They keep using the word remastered. I almost wonder if it was Days Gone Definitive Edition, something like that.
Yeah.
Would that get a better reaction? Because look, I mean, come on, Days Gone Remastered. They throw that up there, and it's like, okay, it's not that old, first of all, and it already works on the PS5. Now, if you said, hey, we're going to add more, because they're adding more content, they're doing DLC and
VRR support.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'll admit, I was one of the people who was like laughing about the Horizon Zero Dawn thing, but the remaster does actually look legitimately better than the original one. But they keep using that word remastered, and I kind of think if they didn't and they used anything else, director's cut, whatever, I think it'd be like, okay, it's $10 and you get more content. Oh, and it also just happens to look better as well, rather than them focusing in on, you won't believe how much better this game looks. It's like, it already looks really, really good, and it's in the it was in the collection for when they first I think when they first had the PS5 upgrade. Like you, if you're a PlayStation Plus, you got an upgrade. I think this was in there. Otherwise, though, it's on PlayStation Plus, so it's easily accessible right now. And I think you're right though about the saturation, Evan, with the zombie stuff back then, because this was still kind of like Walking Dead, from what I remember, was still going on.
Yeah, there was
or was
that
on the tail end of it, right?
Like DayZ stuff was happening. No,
Yeah.
World War Z. World War Z was
Z.
already doing stuff. This was coming out tail end as well with Last of Us. So people were already assuming PlayStation-centered games with zombies were going to be more story-driven, whereas this guy is just a paper-thin lead.
It did feel like it overlapped a bit.
Where's my woman?
You're right. Yeah. And but the thing with this though is it actually sold. People don't realize this game sold pretty well. I think it sold like 8 or 9 million with the PC version included. That's pretty good. For that kind of a game that came out buggy and.
But to be fair, that's kind of like a Horizon number too. Back when Sony used to fucking make their games $10-$20 all the time, which is
that's true.
They don't
that's
do
true.
that anymore.
No, it did have a pretty good like second win on PC. I remember like people on PC really liked the game. So I don't know if you got a chance to play it, Evan.
I've watched a lot of people play it. It looks interesting. It actually looked really decent. Story was meh, but the world
it's consistently on sale on PC too. I think there are many times where it's like less than $20 from what I remember on PC. But at the remaster thing, I think because we keep having this happen and it's like the game's 6 years old, it's like we're remastering this. Okay, I think that's why. So a lot of people laughed when this came up. Yes, we already heard about it, and it's just having it thrown up there was just funny for people. It's like, okay, sure. I will be checking it out though, because I am one of those people, Evan, that kept falling out of Days Gone, and I could still play it now, but with the DLC and stuff, I might check this out, and then also I could technically talk about it a bit more on Click R3 and stuff. So I already have it. I mean, I'll just do that $10 upgrade just to see what it is exactly. All right. Next up, we do have Stellar Blade DLC and a PC version. PC version is June 2025. DLC, we need to, I guess, get an exact release date on that. Evan, you have any interest in Stellar Blade on PC?
I'm fine.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if you had any interest in it coming to PC. I feel like it'll do pretty well on Steam, though.
Oh yeah.
Especially because it should be on sale in like China and stuff as well. Like I think they're expecting a pretty good turnout from that market. PlayStation Plus game catalog is already up here. Jedi Survivor, Topspin, Lost Records, all going in. Jedi Survivor, good game. People should check it out.
Lost Records, also really cool. I'm so excited to play this. It's been on my radar, and I've been meaning to since I saw it in the Xbox showcase, but I just haven't had the time because there's too many games to play. But it looks really cool, and it's the first chapter in it, and I'm assuming it's very similar to the Life is Strange series, where they release a bunch of different chapters. So I'm stoked for it. I hope they release the next chapters out soon, because I love playing those type of games.
I think they mentioned that the other chapters, I think they said one was coming in the spring.
Did they? Yay!
If I'm not
okay,
mistaken.
cool.
Yeah, so I think all the chapters will be out this year, or at least what they were saying. So
I'm so excited.
Okay,
I
cool.
love those type of games.
Stuff.
So I'll report back.
Oh, good stuff. And they did tell us, which was kind of strange. Or so we have 2 other games also going in. That's going to be. Let's start. Okay, so here's the whole list, actually. Jedi Survivor, Topspin, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Tape 1, Saga Frontier Remastered, Somerville, Tin Hearts, Mordhall, Patapon 3, Dropship, United Peace Force. And then for the 2 games they're going in as this one here, we have Blueprints and then Abiotic Factor. So those are 2 other day 1 releases. The other thing that was kind of weird is they told us that 3 Armored Core games are going in, but they're not going in yet, just later. Those are the PS1 Armored Core games. I'm not really sure why they did that. They said, oh yeah, here's a bunch of Armored Core games that'll eventually happen. The PS1 versions. Which
gotta make people
the PS1 Armored Cores. were weird because they technically came out. So Armored Core 1, and then like 5 or 6 months later, the next Armored Core game came out. So it was kind of an expansion that they just ended up putting on another disc and shipping. And they did the same thing again. So this is, there it is, Master of Arena, Project Phantasma. It's kind of odd the way that they set this up. I don't know why they were really wanting to tell people that it's coming out in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, but there you go. Armored Core to look forward to.
Or just play it right now.
Tides. Oh yeah, checklist. Tides of Annihilation. Okay, so this is a game that I think stood out to a lot of people. It's they say it's an action adventure game in mystical London. Now, this is, Sean, one of those games you were mentioning that does have kind of the over-the-top action combat, but not a Souls game.
Right. I've heard that the 2 women are real-life lovers or something, and so they're going to be like lovers in the game or something.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
They showed more gameplay.
Sorry for adding deeper context to things.
Yeah, but the context was I heard a rumor.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a legit thing.
Sean supports their love. I find that beautiful.
Yeah.
Good on you, Sean.
Shipping characters before we know. All right.
I mean, I do that too. I totally ship things, so it's fine.
No, I mean, I think it looks good overall from what we've seen so far. The gameplay looked pretty quick. Like there's a lot of you see a lot of dodging, so I guess more that than parrying. But it does look, as you mentioned, Sean, before, more of the action adventure fantasy style game. So
am I wrong on this?
Keeping up. Oh my gosh!
Did you have this in a dream somewhere?
No, bro. Somebody was talking about it.
Had this in a dream.
Some
Brett and I's
random guy
podcast.
on Twitter.
Was the source "Trust me, bro"? Or like, what was it?
Someone in your chat told you this?
Yeah, but they were like,
trusting chat.
They were adamant about it, and I was like,
"Oh,
okay.
Elliot says Tides of
sounded
Annihilation
very
is heavily inspired by Final Fantasy 16. People are seething online, which is dumb. People, Final Fantasy 16 is a good game. I don't know why people would be mad about that.
Let me see the actresses. So
they do have gameplay of it up. Yep.
Oh, fuck all of you. It's Jennifer English and her real life partner, Alonia Baranova. Suck my ass, kiss my ass. I was right as usual.
Okay. So that guarantees that the in story is their relationship as well?
I didn't necessarily say that. I said that the actresses were a real life couple.
You know, I think that's cool though, because like their voiceover chemistry will be really good.
Exactly.
Okay, next up we have Metal Eden, which is, I have to actually watch this to remember exactly what it was again. Okay,
this is like an advanced boomer shooter.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But the next one, the one that,
there
we go.
Game of the show.
Okay. This was your game of the show, was it? Mind's Eye?
Yeah.
What?
Interesting. Okay, what was it about Mind's Eye that there we go.
Looks cool.
Leslie Bentley, there you go. Game director, boom. They even showed some gameplay of it.
Yeah, the gameplay actually is what made me more interested in it. It's kind of like a GTA with a dash of some cyberpunk, but still a little bit more rooted in reality. I thought the gunplay looked really cool. The explosions and shit looked really cool. This was the coolest looking thing. This is a day one for me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with the cyberpunk, but not quite. Like that went way out into like the weird, futuristic
augmentations and shit like that. This is a little bit more. This is, I think, like 50 or 60 years in the future or something.
Like iRobot.
Yeah.
Mind's Eye. There it is. Summer 2025. That's the other nice thing is they showed it to us, and it's out in summer. Could be like 4 or 5 months from now, technically. Although I guess nowadays we hear the season, and this could be August technically, and it would still be in summer, right? Like end of August. So.
Yeah, August is still kind of summer though.
It is summer. Yeah. It counts. Just
this is what
technically be like 7 months away or something.
The gameplay, this is what sold me on it. This looks fucking cool. Looks fun. Driving looks cool. Boom, big explosion when he's at the gas station and shit. That was really pretty looking too. I'm sold on this. This looks awesome.
Okay. Good stuff. A lot of explosions.
Boom. That was gas
then we closed out with a first. Hey, Sean, look, first party Sony right here.
George Soros.
PlayStation coming through. The first party. You know, it is funny. Technically, we had to go into overtime to get the PlayStation Studios logo. I know, obviously, we had Days Gone remastered, but they didn't even show up for that. They did show it here. Okay. So we did have a PlayStation Studios sighting. But they started up and they didn't tell us the studio or anything, who this is from, just that it's PlayStation Studios. And I'm watching this. At first, I'm like, okay, this is it looked a little at the beginning, just the setup, a little Helldivers looking like. But then you get here, got the Eclipse, and then they zoom in on the main character's pupil, and you see the projectiles and like the pattern, and immediately it was like, okay, yeah, it's Housemark. It's his Returnal follow-up. And I think some people online had that reaction through streams. Some were a little like unsure, confused. Ryan like jumped out of his chair, it seemed. He's a big Housemark fan, so I get it.
He should sit down because it's not coming out until next year, so he's got plenty of time to enjoy his chair and sit comfortably. Right
there, it's like, okay, yep, Returnal. All right, cool. So I actually went back. I started playing Returnal again the other day after seeing this. Like, I do actually kind of want to play that again. So I'm going back through it now. I didn't do the tower stuff, the follow-up DLC stuff that they added. So I'm kind of going through and playing around with that now. But I mean, the game's still very, very good. Like, if people haven't played it, I still recommend it, but it is pretty difficult. And I think that's one of the things that maybe they realized, because they didn't really want to change their vision for Returnal much. Remember, it was the whole thing about the suspend point. Like, we don't want to give you the ability to technically save scum this thing. So we'll come up with like if you do it now, you suspend, you actually then have to back out to your dashboard on the PS5 before, like, you have to close it that way. And then you go back in and it starts right there. So it's a way to kind of get around rest mode if it turns off, and then you lose your save, basically your run. So apparently with this one being Saros 2026, they're going to do the Hades route where you do get legitimately stronger after every run. So it's not like these hard checkpoints that you get where maybe you get a certain item that's permanent, or maybe you unlock a certain door that's permanent. It's just every time you seem to come back with some sort of experience or currency, and your character will power up, is the way they're describing this. So I think people who were put off by the Returnal difficulty, which their sales weren't bad. I feel like the sales for Returnal were probably a bit over 2 million. For Housemark, they're making like Resogun and stuff. They're probably pretty happy with it, but they realize that they need to change things, but maybe adapt a bit more to the like more popular modern roguelike styles.
Make it more casual is what you're trying to say.
Sort of. Like, I think they can still make it difficult.
Add in casual
easier
elements
for the plebs.
Look, Returnal is like a legit, I don't want to say it's a skill test game.
It's a memorization style.
Well, if you remember, like, it is
3D Mega Man.
It feels like such an old school arcade game from back in the day, because it is, you're right. You have to be ready for it. You have to basically pattern recognize and learn the moves of these bosses. And even at times, some of the setups and the best way to kind of run through as you can, since they do change things up, but you understand builds and you start to understand weapons and artifacts and when you should and shouldn't try for malfunctions that could pop up. I think Saros is going to be much more, you can brute force it if you keep running against the wall. Like, you'll just get experience and build up. So if you like Hades, if you like, what are the other popular roguelike that the kids like right now?
The kids?
I just think of Hades immediately, like Hades 2. That's the one that always comes to mind. But those kind of games, yes. If you like those, it seems like that's what Saros is going to lean into. So I don't know if anyone else really played Returnal like that. Enjoyed it quite a bit, and I recommend it. Celia, can I get you to try out Returnal?
Maybe.
If you buy it for her.
Probably. Then I'd feel bad, and then I'd have to play it. But if it's also on PlayStation. What?
I said you didn't feel bad at that grocery store, though.
Oh my gosh, that was a game that was for free. And I did play that. It's one of my favorite games of all time. He's referencing Dragon Warrior Monsters when I got that game for free. Short story. I was a little kid. I was playing Game Boy in my mom's cart. We pulled up to the register. The lady was like, "Hey, does this fit in there?" And it was the cartridge. And someone had left it, and it was there for weeks, and they gave it to me. And it was one of my favorite games of all time. It was awesome. Anyways, yeah. back on topic. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a type of game that I would get really into, but I could be wrong though. We'll find out.
Do you have PlayStation Plus, Celia?
Yes, I do. So
it is on PlayStation Plus Extra.
Okay, then it'll be available to me.
It is a download. I mean, it's something. It's the thing with Returnal is technically, if you're good enough at it, you can beat the whole game in one run.
Okay.
But most people won't do that. They'll die. The idea is you're going to die a lot as you play through it, but it is like that hard arcade style game. But it's the controls are good. It's a very satisfying game to play through because you do feel like the sense of accomplishment and stuff. But it's like the arcade stuff where you would where you would kind of build up like I'll even say like Mega Man, where you build up against like the different robot masters learning their patterns. So. Yeah, one of the better games I think that was made in the PS5 generation.
Isn't it funny how we've been talking about Returnal for 5 minutes instead of Saros because all you got was a 2026 release date and a CGI trailer?
I mean, you're right. I need to see some gameplay for Saros, but I kind of have I want to say I have an idea, but they didn't show. Is it going to be like in Returnal, you go between rooms and stuff, procedurally generated? I assume it's going to be like that, but clearly the setting is way different than Returnal. So I don't know if it's. Did we just see a boss basically right there, or is it like these weird infinite voids that we're gonna go through? I'm not sure.
You'll find out at the big Sony showcase.
2026 for Saros, though. Here's the thing: that is Housemarque becoming a pretty good studio for Sony. Of course, they bought them years ago, but it's pretty clear that Housemarque did not buy into the live service stuff that I guess some of the other studios were attempting to do. They kind of stayed the course. So this is coming out 5 years after Returnal, then is what it seems. So for Housemarque, that seems like a cadence you'd expect from a first party studio like that. So I have to give them credit. They're at least going to have seemingly 2 games out for the 2 brand new games out, new IPs out for the PS5. Not many of Sony studios can say that. So we're just trying to get one for some of them.
Can any?
I think that was a fun. What's that?
Can any?
Well, no, I'm trying to think of what's, Insomniac, I guess. Okay. Ratchet and Clank. I bet you they have something. I mean, they did Spider-Man 2, but I have a feeling they're going to have another game out outside of Marvel before the end of this generation. And it might be another Ratchet, maybe. But that was the showcase or the state of play ending with Saros, which, hey, good for Housemarque. They get the closeout. But this led to some reactions online because, as you may have picked up, we went through there was one PlayStation Studios game that was really shown, the other one being a remaster. And the expectation going into this, as you said, Sean, was PlayStation Studios games.
Yeah, what's coming up in 2025? Intergalactic isn't. Fair Games isn't anymore. Ghost of Yotai, I'm still not 100% sure that that's a 2025 game. You know, it was just weird to me. It's your first presentation of February of the new year, and you close out on a 2026 game. In my optics, that either tells me for some reason you're saving 2025 games for a later presentation, or maybe 2025 is just going to be a bit of a quieter year. And I don't think that's a bad thing to say.
I think I think Ghost is going to probably come out at the end of this. We'll say end of summer, maybe. I'm kind of thinking that might be an August game for them. They reconfirmed with in their investor report that would come out this year. 2025.
Take-Two said that GTA 6 was coming out in 2025 as well. Their investors briefing. I'm just saying things can change. How many
you can.
big games that got a release window then ended up shifting that release window? Like I don't understand why people are like, oh, it says. It's like, for now.
No, we've seen Sony like some of their games right at the end, like they get delayed. That happened with Last of Us Part 2. It happened with Returnal. They delayed a few months. It's not uncommon. You're right. But for the year right now that we know of, and I'm going to remove Days Gone, the remaster thing. Okay. I'll remove that for a second here. But we have Death Stranding 2. and then we have Ghost of Yote. Those are the two that I look at and go, okay, they confirm them to their investors. I'm gonna go with the premise that those two games are coming out this year for now. Saros is next year. Intergalactic is someday. At some point it'll come out, which Naughty Dog, I'd like to think that's 2026. That might be 2027 though. That could be, remember The Last of Us Part 2 came out 6-7 months before the PS5 came out.
Yeah.
It might be a situation like that for Naughty Dog. And then they do the remaster for the next generation with Intergalactic. So I mean, I see this and I go, okay, I understand, but I kind of understand both ends of this. So I feel like if you're really excited,
fence riding, who would have thunk it?
Because the thing that was brought up, right? Eurogamer made that post and they said, is Sony coasting right now? Is they're starting to coast currently? And that was a whole thing. They like kicked a beehive online. There's so much back and forth over that question. And in the article, they did bring up some of the games that are coming up. Like, I mean, if you look at their third-party offerings, or they're clearly trying to bring in games to fill in gaps for longer development cycles. We just talked about like Lost Soul Aside, right? That's in May. So people are, of course, adding that into the roster of games that they'll make with the lists and stuff. But it was brought up that right now Microsoft is going to be publishing more games on Sony's platform than Sony is. And that is kind of a strange thing to think about right now. But is that kind of what you're thinking, Sean? Do you think Sony is going into a less competition on one end, so we're going to coast a bit mode?
Yes. I mean, even if they were to make a bunch of games this year, if you have all these Xbox games coming out and some of them are similar, you might second guess it. You have Xbox essentially doing your work for you with some of these games. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why competition is important, not because of some fucking weirdo 50-year-old men arguing on Twitter about which plastic box is better. It's because it drives companies to compete, and when there's competition, it brings out the best in people. I think this, and obviously some of it also has to do with poor decision making, the live service games and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm just kind of expecting another soft year with PlayStation, and I think that's kind of a shame considering this is year 5 of the PlayStation 5. But if you're cool with it, that's fine. It's just my opinion.
You think it's possible, Sean, that maybe just the games they've shown so far just don't really interest you that much?
What have they showed that would it have interested me?
Like Ghost of Yote, for example.
I don't have a problem with it, John. That's one game in a calendar year. That's
or like Death Stranding 2.
That's a
like you didn't like Death Stranding 1. So I
didn't. But okay,
yeah,
you're
exactly.
up to 2 games. 2 games in a calendar year. That's cutting the mustard nowadays.
About like Intergalactic. Are you interested in that one at all?
Maybe. I have to see the game. I didn't. You showed me a strange lead character and a half a second of gameplay.
About like Saros.
I would have to see it. I haven't seen the game, John. I saw a trailer for a CGI trailer for a new IP. I assume it's going to be similar to Returnal, but how's it going to be different?
Right.
And you're talking you're talking about 2026, 2027 games. I'm talking about 2025. It is February 2025. I'm interested in this year and what I'm going to be playing this year. And it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of offerings from PlayStation. And if people are fine with that, be fine with it. But understand that some people are going to kind of question, well, why is that? That's a little strange, isn't it?
Right. I mean, if you look at like people are looking at Death Stranding 2 as like a first party Sony game, and now we see Death Stranding, the first one, even on Xbox. So I think when you realize that, there are people who are kind of detaching a bit from Death Stranding as being like that PlayStation IP, because for a while it was up on their banner. Remember, it was a whole thing for them. And then even Sony's kind of backed away from it a bit. So I mean, I assume that will eventually go to PC maybe the following year, and then it might end up on Xbox a year later or something. So I know that is that timed exclusivity thing that they're rolling with, but it was interesting just to see kind of the reaction after the state of play happened, to where people just kind of lost. I don't know if they lost like the confidence in Sony when it came to that or what, but you're right. It was very loud online with that regard, because then we saw Sony's financials and it doesn't match up to the stuff that's being said online, because it's like, okay,
because they're the default, John. They're
becoming the default.
You're casual gamers who play the Madden, who buy Madden every year, even though Madden is dog shit, or buy your Call of Duties, or just want to play Fortnite. They pick up a PlayStation, and like you're not, 75 million units sold. That's amazing. That's awesome numbers. But when you look at the competitor at 29 million, which that pissed off a lot of people, that I dared to bring up that Xbox sold 2 million units, and like, fucking weirdo fanboys, man, like, get the fuck over it. It's Xbox isn't gonna comfort you if you stub your toe or something like that. Like, you're a consumer. But
I think they have an Xbox blanket though.
They probably do, and they got the Xbox refrigerator as well.
A toaster, I think, right?
You can get ice out of there.
Yeah, you can get ice. You can have your toast with it. But like, I mean, these are just, it's just a factual number thing, and it's very interesting to look at, software sales comparative to hardware sales on the PlayStation 5 as well.
A lot more in terms of third party, like their first party software definitely lower than last year for that Q3, which their Q3 this year was 9.5 million versus like 8.2. So they are up over the holiday, and less first party, more third party, but also just more console sold. So,
and a bunch of PC revenue because of Helldivers 2.
Yes. Yeah. So there was a lot coming out of their investors report. If you really go over it, you mentioned the PC stuff that's happening there with Helldivers 2. I mean, putting a lot of money into Sony in regards to their PC efforts. And I think that's one of the reasons they're going to continue their PC ports, and one of the reasons they're going to continue their live service stuff. Because you see the effect of Helldivers 2 on them now, like a year after Helldivers came out, it's still generating that kind of revenue for them on the PC side. Yeah, you're going to see more of that.
The new president wants that. He wants more PC stuff.
Hiroki Totoki does, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun name to say. Hiroki Totoki.
He's going to keep pushing for PC. Yes, you're absolutely right. And when you hit, it works really well even for years later, but when it's not great, like Spider-Man 2's, I don't know what happened there. But that is very loud online. It's like, man, this port is not good. Maybe they'll stop doing PC ports.
Yeah, it was a rough port.
Yeah, exactly. And that's happened before. Last of Us was not a good port when they moved that over, but they eventually cleaned it up with the following release. And I don't know what happened there. It's hard to say, but they're going to keep that going. But the thing with this now, the PS5, 75 million units. If you launch a lineup with the PS4, 1.5 million units behind the PS4. So they are just about back in parity with the PS4, despite, what was it, like a year and a half or 2 years of them just struggling to provide the system to people. There was like a year where people were selling the PS5 online for $1,500 or something because there was no stock.
Fucking scalpers.
Yeah, it was crazy. So being able to recover from that, and all of this, by the way, before we just talked about GTA 6, but eventually that game's going to come out, and that's going to have a massive effect on PlayStation. You just said it's the default console.
Yes,
here comes GTA 6.
Yeah, they're going to sell. That's going to spike. If I'm Sony, I'm trying to do everything in my power, even if it's the same fucking price as it would be buying it separately. I'm trying to do everything in my power to get a bundle of that. Everything in my power, because you're going to sell so many systems off of that game. Nobody's going to buy an Xbox for that.
Like a 5-day early access or something.
I'm not saying nobody, but in comparison to what PlayStation is going to sell with GTA 6, it's going to be fucking night and day.
I have a theory about how we've talked about this, I believe. GTA 6, I think there's going to be two versions of, technically two SKUs. I think one's just going to be the single player GTA 6, $70. You have a whole open, massive world, tons of detail, great. And then I think the multiplayer would be sold separately, and that might be $30. So it's $100 game technically.
Yeah.
But you're right about the bundle. if I was Sony and if I could work that out, I would have the multiplayer bundled in with the PS5.
Or even do it if you really want to get ballsy and you want to move some pros, like the chat's saying, best place to play GTA 6, the PS5 Pro. You don't even necessarily need a bundle with that. If I'm a store, I'm putting them right next to each other. It's like, hey, here you go. That's the combo you need, pal. They're gonna sell.
Just get the marketing for it.
They're gonna sell a ton of consoles with that.
That's the interesting thing. The PS4 had GTA 5 for a good chunk of its life selling alongside of it. That did help because we'd always see GTA 5 in the. Remember, it always being like the top 5 or something on the sales charts every year, and it's like, why is this still here? And then they eventually tell us, oh yeah, it sold over 200 million copies. This one game. It's like, geez. So we'll have GTA 6, the second half of this generation, where it's already kind of keeping up with the PS4. I think that's what pushes it over the top. And I believe the PS5 is going to outsell the PS4. Yeah, I think it's going to have that kind of effect.
I mean, that's the power of GTA 6. People have been waiting for this shit.
The thing with this, though, as they've mentioned, that is Sony coasting now, basically. I don't know if they can coast, because the thing with this report is, while they did sell a ton of systems, I think one of the reasons they sold so many systems, and it was obvious when they started cutting down prices, they did some massive discounts for the PS5 when it came to Black Friday, and then they extended that like into December. So there was a point in time where you were getting the PS5 for, I think it was like they knocked it down $75 or so. It got to where it was like $300 something to get a PS5, like brand new. And when they showed their recent report, their operating income was 7%. Like, they did a lot of money. They brought in a ton of gross revenue, but then they're like, oh yeah, here's our actual profit. And it's thin. The margins are thin for them right now.
You can't talk about that with the fanboys, though. They don't understand gross versus net. They never took a business class or owned a business or something like that.
Well, if you go through the slides and you look at Sony Music, and then you look at Sony, like their PlayStation Games Network services, it's like the margins were like Sony Music almost 20%. And then you look at like PlayStation Game Services, like 7%. Like, they clearly, a lot of their revenue came from those consoles they were selling, 9.5 million. That's quite a few. And the third-party games. So when you have less first-party and you're discounting hardware to move it, you end up with less overall profit in general. Sometimes for some of those, they might have been eating some money on a few of those systems, depending on which region they were selling them in for exchange rate. So that's the thing to me, is they kind of can't coast now, because if they start coasting, they could actually fall to a point where their margins get even thinner, and it gets.
But you also can't
with investors.
You can't pull things out of your ass or out of thin air. I mean, let's be real. They were banking on a lot of those live service games, and it seems like
you're right.
More are starting to drop like flies, and looks like Jade Raymond's completing another successful heist. How does she keep getting away with
funny
it?
that her game's based on heists and she's completing the next one?
How does she keep getting away with it? There needs to be an
I wonder if the people at Sony was watching her pitch for Fair Games about how a bunch of just ragtag people came together and they're just stealing money from all the really rich companies, and they're just looking at her across the table like, hold on a minute.
No, they're not that smart, obviously. They thought Concord was going to be the next fucking biggest game in the world.
Hey, Herman Hulst says next Star Wars. Okay, next Star Wars. What's the funniest part is that the Amazon the secret level episode was better than the whole game. Like, the show was actually good. It was 15 minutes, and it was not terrible. Yeah, you're right though about the live service stuff. That's set it back, and I think that has something to do with what we're seeing right now. Some of these studios, like, man, the one that really hits me, and I'm like, Blue Point. The fact that they've basically reset, and I think they're going to the PS6 generation now, is tough. Bend is just spiraling. Maybe they'll go back to Days Gone. Maybe they'll try Days Gone too. Maybe they'll get it done. PS6. That's just where we are with these dev cycles right now. Unless you're Housemarque and can get it done in 5 years, even then, if they started last year or 5 years, they end up at 2029. I don't know, you making that for the PS5? Probably not. Oh, maybe cross-gen. Maybe they'll do it that way. So the live service stuff set them back. Do you think that has something to do with this, though, Sean? Actually, even like Celia, do you think the idea of all the cross-gen stuff we've seen is one of the other reasons people are looking at the PS5's generation as being a bit softer to start? Like, if God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West were all PS5 exclusive titles, no PS4 version, do you think people look at the PS5 generation differently right now?
Yeah, it's like that also for like the third-party games releasing on there. If you can get it everywhere, it doesn't make it okay. Have fun. It doesn't make it special anymore. A lot of the things that people are angry on the internet about is that you buy a console for the games, and if it's available everywhere, you don't have to buy that console anymore. It gets rid of the reason that you would have it in the first place. So with that, yeah, like the PS5 library does feel slim because I can get it everywhere, and I also can get it on my last gen console. It's like, why would I make the step up if I can play it somewhere else? I don't know. It's like that, but also it's like that for other things because like for example, I always play my Atlas games on my PlayStation 5. That's just how I and since it's on Xbox, I remember we were talking about like PlayStation exclusives, and my brain I was about to say, well, Atlas, duh, like that's an exclusive. No, it's not. It's on Xbox too and PC and all that good stuff. And some of their games are on Switch, but it's just how we associate things, and that same type of thought process people will relate that to other things as well.
It is pretty funny. I still like even Metal Gear Solid, for example. I still at times associate that to PlayStation just because back in the day it was like, oh, here's Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1, and then here's 2 and 3. Oh, they're on the PS2. So I get what you're saying about the Atlas thing, where you do kind of think about certain franchises or companies, and you're like, you immediately think PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo. Ninja Gaiden was one. I immediately associate the 3 Ninja Gaidens to Xbox right away. But I mean, you could even see like Nintendo. There are many people, I'm sure, who look at Monster Hunter and think of Nintendo because of all the stuff that we had prior to this with Nintendo and Monster Hunter when they had that on the 3DS and they pulled it into the Wii and then Wii U and everything. Like that was clearly a time where people would look at that and say, although I guess even before that, you'd say PSP. So, Sean, which game right now would you look back on and associate with third-party game? Company even would you associate with PlayStation right away?
All time?
Yeah, just like right off your head. Boom. It like for example, Celia said Atlas, she thought of PlayStation right away. Like, oh, that's like
Capcom.
That's like Capcom is PlayStation for you. Interesting.
Think of how many games they did that were exclusive to PlayStation,
Yeah,
especially like PS1, PS2 generation, bro. All your Resident Evils, except 2, which went to Dream. Well, I mean, 1 went to the Saturn, but much later. And then Dino Crisis, and I mean, you can even say Square too. SquareSoft would be a good one.
Konami was a bit similar too.
Konami was
Do you
very
relate Metal Gear, Sean, to PlayStation?
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Okay. It wasn't just me. Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it was also Saturn was weird to develop for. N64 was using cartridges, and a lot of companies didn't want to fuck with that. So PlayStation was the default.
Square. Yep. Right. Yeah, a lot of people, you're right, said Square. Square for PlayStation. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even now, play Final Fantasy 16 on PlayStation 5. Rebirth.
7. Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. We'll see. I got to see the release dates for some of these games, right, Sean? Fair Games next year, apparently. We'll see how that goes.
Just cancel it. Give her bag and let her ride off into the sunset.
And we'll see with Ghost Yote and Death Stranding 2. I think we're gonna get the Death Stranding 2 release date. By the way, I think that's coming out before Ghost Yote. I think we're gonna get the release date for that at South by Southwest because Kojima's doing a show there or an event, like a panel. So I assume he's going to sit up there and show a bunch of cards that say a Kojima game on it and then eventually get to the release date. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That's first week of March, I think. Okay. Let's go over to this Nintendo Direct situation.
What about some super chats?
I will go through the super chats. Let's do that. Mock says, since some people are not liking the trailers for Until Dawn, or they say that this is not Until Dawn, do you think studios should try making movies more interactive like the game? Most theaters are digital.
I think they just shouldn't make a fucking movie for every video game franchise.
Didn't
Until
they try
Dawn
that
is
at
a
one
movie.
point? I thought they tried that at one point with theaters that had like a button pad, and you would maybe that was just like a Disney
Really?
pad or something.
That's funny.
Okay, wait. Like, what are they imagining for this? Is this like Shrek 4D, where they like spray you and like all those things? Like, what?
No, I think
or
they're
like
trying. I think,
And
no, I think
Black
it's like
Ride, where you shoot things.
No, I think they want it to be more like the audience makes a decision, which I could have swore there was like a Disney or Universal Studios ride that had a movie that was sort of like a pick your own adventure.
Well, nowadays everyone could walk in with a phone and like sync it up, I guess, or like connect it and do that. Maybe.
Yeah, but this was the thing. Netflix did it, right? Jabberwocky, the movie.
There's actually WWE did it on Netflix as well. With the New Day, it's you're trying to escape from Undertaker's hidden mansion or haunted mansion, and you control. It's a choose your own adventure movie.
Oh, I didn't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it would work out a bit. Well, I mean,
do the stage shows like Terminator at fucking Universal. That shit kicks ass. Or Beetlejuice or Indiana Jones. I remember when Indiana Jones and the Tanners went there, and she thought Steve was Indiana Jones DJ. It wasn't.
Liza Phil says Spawnwave PlayStation tax, not pointing out the leaked anti-PlayStation smear campaign by Xbox journos and bad journalistic integrity.
Liza Phil, I like you, but I disagree with that. I don't think that that's a thing. I think simply pointing out that Xbox is putting more games on PlayStation has nothing to do with a smear campaign. I think it's having to do with a factual thing. Gaming journalists make a lot of fucking bullshit, but I don't think this is one of those bullshit situations. And that's kind of a problem that happens with it, is then all of a sudden everything is bullshit. You got to give credit where it's due. I personally don't see it as that. I just see it as a factual thing.
Yeah, and you'll see more games from Microsoft this year on PlayStation, as people have kind of alluded to. So I think it'll be a lot. They're going to move quite a bit over. Let's see. Zach says, John, RGT said he would beat you in a street fight. Thoughts? Well, Street Fighter, probably Street Fighter 2, 3.
No, but is it like restricted to fists, or are you like breaking bottles over bars and like trying to shoot each other?
I think,
weapons, pocket stand.
The way I positioned it was, if it's an actual street fight, like no rules, like survival, yeah, I'm gonna fucking win.
I think Baltimore. I think Baltimore me would win. I used to carry a knife the length of my arm around. It was great.
Like a sanctioned boxing match. Because John would actually train for that. I'm not gonna fucking try. I'll just show up. Hope for the best.
I'm just gonna get off the couch and show up at the arena.
I got a fighter's punch, dog. That's all I need. But like yeah, an actual street
Sean
fight.
would like throw sand and bite.
Yeah, I was like, is Sean gonna bring weapons? Because you might die if Sean brings weapons.
I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, I'd like stab you with a glass shard on the ground and kick you in the nuts. Like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, Sean would take himself out to like get rid of me. He'd like dive through me off the cliff or something.
Well, see,
bleeding out on the floor, opens his coat, just dynamite. You're like, what the hell? And the whole building goes
in the fights that I've been in, it's I always black out. Like, I get that adrenaline rush, and like I don't remember things, and then like I just kind of come to like a few minutes later. It's
mouth
really
filled with blood and flesh. You're like, oh, not again.
This is Casual Noob Gamer says, no OJ. Shake my head. Celia, have you tried turning it on and off?
You know, that's a great suggestion. I'll try that next time. I did, though. I tried unplugging it and then plugging it back in. It just didn't work. We'll figure it out eventually soon. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
I like the drivers in the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Thank you.
VGM. How do you pronounce the first one? Tiramani. VGM. Thank you.
Right.
Long-time viewer, first-time chatter. Thanks for all the content, Celia. I do video game music content and got M&G tickets to the New York Shovel Knight concert. Wow.
Oh, get the meet and greet.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hope
I'll
to
be
give
there.
you a high five.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. For anyone who wants context, the Shovel Knight concert is happening. The New York show is next week, actually, on February 22nd. And the LA showing is on March 30th. For more information, visit shovelknightconcert.com. But yeah, I'll be there. I'll be hanging out. I'll be talking on stage, and it'll be real cool. I hope you enjoy it. The stage, everything's looking really great. I just finished editing all the gameplay footage. It's a lot of gameplay footage that's going to be playing in the background. So it'll be really cool.
This guy's gonna run up with his hand up and just get tackled by security.
Yeah, probably. But no, there's a meet and greet after. Like if you upgrade to the VIP, like you get to talk to us and stuff, and we all hang out, and it'll be fun.
Oh. Dark Type says, "Hi everyone, been a while. Hope everyone's good with the Switch 2 coming very soon. What are you most excited for in the next Nintendo generation?"
Disappointment.
No, I'm interested in their library because I think post Tears of the Kingdom's been a bit soft for bigger titles. So I want to see what they've been cooking up, what they got up their sleeve with it.
You said games. I'll say the overall OS and maybe some of the weird Nintendo-y things they can do, because the Switch current one's pretty plain, I guess.
Just
curious if they try anything weird or new with it. I mean, it's a very basic setup, which is fine because it gets to your game quickly, but I don't know, it'd be fun to see Nintendo go, hey, we have more RAM now or whatever, we don't have as many limitations, let's do something quirky or weird. Bossman says, hope Shinobi does well, maybe a AAA sequel.
But how would that be? Because really,
I love the
PS2
3D game was good, so like they could bring it up. Not remake it, but new era it.
Casual Noob says, do we need to make Xbox #1 to get PlayStation making games again?
Nah, I don't think you'll ever make Xbox #1.
Minnesota Light says no Click R3 or Ryan on Spawncast after State of Play.
Get them.
We got Click R3's coming up. It's on the way. Don't worry. Couple days.
Next week when nobody cares about the State of Play. We got it.
Jazz Jefferson says, Digimon Storytime Stranger is the best announcement of the show. See? Glad to see it finally got revealed and happy to see it get significant spotlight. There you go. Backing up Celia.
He's a weapon wheel person.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Jazz Jefferson. 50 to 80 says, I'll miss the console wars. All we got was apathy and complacency. PC and Switch only for me moving forward.
Hey, nothing wrong with it, pal.
4K says, is Days Gone Remaster getting a physical PS5 disc? They did for Horizon. To my understanding, it is not getting a physical copy. That's what's going around right now. So
Josh from Limited Run doing the Birdman with that shit. You're like,
That could happen, yeah. Maybe Limited Run comes in and does it.
2028.
Elliot sets up Tides of Elimination. Yep, heavily inspired by Final Fantasy 16. Jessica says, will LG Z3 be good for PS5? That's a good question. Sean has that LG right over there, but check the Z3 real quick, Sean. I'm actually curious what the Z3, what they have for that.
Okay. It's $10,000 for the
probably
77
gonna be good.
8K.
Yeah,
I think you'll be all right, Jessica. What's up, Jessica? How you doing? You got money like that? What's up, girl?
She's probably
Sean streams every now and then. He's got his own podcast.
Yeah, I got a podcast, RGT85 Stash. Come through, hang out.
Sounds. I mean, that sounds like that's a TV for the PS5 Pro. If you had to pick one of them, if it's 8K, I mean, there's some games in 8K. There you go.
Definitely got for GTA 6.
What's your opinion on PlayStation's operating profit at 7%? I think we mentioned that. It's why Sony can't start coasting now, because they'll get into some trouble, I think. Red says the profit same quarter last year was 2%. Yes, that's what I mean. They ended up doing better, but you can kind of see how thin those margins were last year even.
And what if Helldivers 2 wasn't a big success?
That's the thing, right? Helldivers 2 definitely did better than they were expecting, but again, that's how close
like that.
Yeah, that's how expensive it is in this gaming market. It's not easy. That's people always ask, Sean, can Sega come back? No, they cannot. It's not easy. Brandon says to you, Hardcore gamers get mad at casual gamers who continue to support the PS5 even though they don't have many new exclusives.
No, I don't give a fuck.
No, either way, like let's say there's a third-party game. If you want to play Monster Hunter Wilds and you buy a PS5 to play it, you're playing a game on it. You know, there's something you're looking forward to. And back in the day, Sean got a PS3 to play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yep, on a credit card. Thanks, Best Buy.
Let's get mad at him.
No, I mean, you know, the thing is, the company should be doing better at releasing games and having more timely releases. Because let's be real. All right, if you want to get into the console war shit, because I know the chat loves that. Weren't PlayStation dudes fucking dunking on Xbox during the Xbox One era, the start of the Xbox Series era, for not having exclusive games come out, for not having enough games come out? But then when the shoe's on the other foot, you're like, oh, wait, here's a laundry list of fucking excuses. It's like, come on, bro. Be consistent.
Something else is that excited about next-gen Xbox. I'm excited about it to see what exactly they're going to do. Because I don't think it can just be, here's a more powerful Xbox Series system.
I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what it's going to be.
It's going to be an Amazon Fire Stick, all streaming.
That's...
Yeah.
I'm not going to be shocked.
I hope they do something weird, like make the fridge, because people bought that, a console too. Dude, I would love an Xbox microwave that also plays Life is Strange games. I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
They're going to go the way of GameStop. More shirts than games. It'll be good.
But they can also play games? Dude, wild, crazy.
Is that the future we need, where your microwave can play Stardew Valley?
Dude, I'm so down.
It can definitely play Skyrim.
Could definitely run Doom.
Yeah.
Lit. Hey, I think we found the solution.
Elliot says, who's playing Suikoden remasters next month? That is next month. Nate and I were talking the other day, and we are like, oh yeah, that is Suikoden's coming out. And we're looking through the releases next month. That kind of snuck up on me, actually. I would like to get that. Yeah, I'll check it out next month. Nick says, even if the games are on other systems, doesn't mean they're buying them. Xbox players don't buy games, and PC single player games doesn't do that good either.
As long as you are on a lot of things, such as basketball, Nick, I think you're pretty spot on with that.
Well, I mean, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out, and that's done really well on PC. It's like almost, they came close to like 300,000 concurrent players recently, so that's doing well. But Xbox is that's the thing they have to contend with. I mean, that's why you're seeing these games come to PlayStations, because they did provide a subscription-based model that did stop people mostly from buying their games and just waiting for Game Pass drops. Pika says, my girlfriend gave me a gold Shovel Knight amiibo for Valentine's Day. Hope to use it in the future releases.
Are you paying these people?
No, I'm not, but I like them very much. You guys are awesome. I think that is a very great gift. And though we do not have any confirmed amiibo compatibility for future games, I would love to see that happen.
Claw says, hello all. When are we going to get Ryan and Nate on at the same time again? I want to see the Click R3 and Direct Xbox guys have an in-depth discussion.
You can't, because they're the same person.
There you go.
The Xbox PlayStation crossover episode. That's a good one. Claw, that is a good idea. You might have to do that. Stay tuned, Claw. That was a good idea.
You can't even get both of them to show up on this show. Good luck, fucking.
Nate said he was like at sea or something. I don't know.
The storm's coming. I looked outside. It's snowing like a motherfucker here.
Oh yeah, he has to like get the stuff prepared at the docks and stuff. Outlaw Farmer says Sony doesn't count sales to consumers, just to distributor. Warehouses are full of PS5. That's why game sales are always down.
Yeah, but distributors aren't gonna fucking buy it if they got a million of them sitting around.
Well, the other part is you're right about that, because they cycle through. But the other part is they also showed that they were like at an all-time high for monthly active users, and it's people are playing the PS5. Like they have numbers to show it. So,
did you see that video of the motherfucker getting swallowed by a humpback whale?
The kayaker for like a couple seconds.
Dude, that was crazy. It got me thinking about the sea.
The trick is that's not the only time that's happened. I mean,
it's happened twice this year, hasn't it?
What?
Some dude, and he's some sort of I don't want to say his race, some sort of Hispanic race. because I don't want to say it wrong.
He's mocha flavored. Just
there you go.
You don't need to mention that. Continue.
Well, because the interview given is in Spanish and he's there with his father, but he's on a kayak. His dad's on another kayak, like filming his son. His son's like 19. And all of a sudden, this humpback whale comes up and just fucking swallows dude whole, the boat and everything. And then like 5 seconds later, he pops out and his dad's like freaking out and shit. And they interview him. That was some fucking straight biblical shit. I was like, God damn, what the fuck is going on with nature?
I did see there was a comment I saw in
Venezuelan.
There you go.
There was a comment I saw in the chat about Days Gone Remastered, because I keep seeing this going around. Where is it? It was mentioned that if you want a sequel to Days Gone, you should buy Days Gone Remastered. And I don't know, I guess people haven't seen it yet. The reason that Days Gone 2 didn't happen, we found out later, is because apparently Bend didn't pitch it to Sony. It didn't seem to get past their internal pitch process. So I don't know if Ben maybe the development for Days Gone 1 wasn't something they wanted to go through for a sequel again. Maybe it wasn't great internally for that, but it's very telling they decided to go to a live service attempt. I mean, it does. I will say this: it does look good right now. Like I don't think I fired up Days Gone the many times I tried to go through it, even on the PS5, and been like, man, this game needs help. Now they patched it and it's pretty clean looking at 60 frames. It looks fine. That's why I wouldn't have called it a remaster. I would have just said it, hey, here's extra content. It's $10. It's the definitive edition. And then I would have moved on to the director's cut. I don't know. There's something you could probably pull out of the game, like in terms of a phrase or something to name it. Just seems
enhanced,
I get that still kind of plays into the, hey, look how much better it looks. And they showed it and it's like,
or director, you could do director's cut.
Kind of.
The thing about director's cut is director's cuts usually come out on the same system. So like, a game comes out on the PS5 and then it gets the director's cut on the PS5. It's usually not system to system. But I mean, they're just making up words, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way they present it. It's like, man, did you really have to call this a remaster? Because now everyone, when you think remaster, you just think of visuals, graphics. That's it. It's like, I mean, if you added more content to it, then sure. Yeah.
I watched the little video, and oh my god,
see,
that was crazy,
crazy shit.
Yeah, like what the fuck, guys? That's crazy. Okay, sorry.
He straight up disappeared. And then he came back.
Not because he spat him out. Yeah. How did he do that? Can he speak to whales? That is my question. Sorry, I had to get that on my system. Okay.
I thought it was a seal. Mad.
Uridan says, Xbox has so many successful live service games now, and Game Pass is billions a year. Should they worry about single game sales as much? Monthly active users matter. I think they worry about still selling the games, but they definitely still worry about Game Pass, clearly.
Well, and the thing about Game Pass is, you're still spending money to get those games into Game Pass unless they're first party Xbox games. And if they are first party Xbox games, you have to factor in development costs of those games. Right. Because, it's not like those games are free to make. And we know how much games cost nowadays. And especially with bigger titles coming out. I think if Game Pass was as profitable as Microsoft wanted it to be, Forza and Indiana Jones wouldn't be going to the PlayStation 5 this spring.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So it's just everything that Microsoft's doing right now is telling us that they got to find money somewhere. So going to PlayStation. Let's talk about this Nintendo Direct here to close out. There's belief that the Direct is going to happen in February. The hopes are dwindling, and it seems to be locking in on this week coming up because the following week there should be a Pokemon Presents, and we know this because it was data mined out of Pokemon Go. So shout out to Niantic for that. Which it makes sense. Pokemon Day, you would have some sort of event happen, and most likely that's where Pokemon Legends ZA is, and they'll date that, and they'll probably do something for the trading card game, Celia, the cell phone game.
It'll be neat. Pocket's really fun. They recently released a new pack or two packs from Diamond and Pearl that you can play, and like I'm almost like I almost collected all the cards for that one, so I'm fiending for more soon. So I'm assuming they'll release something, announce an event drop of something of the sort. Maybe there's going to be an update to the trading system. They'd announced it recently, and it was kind of bullshit. And so they did a revision to it. So they're kind of just figuring it out with the community. So maybe they'll have a revision for that as well. I'm really hoping that we get a teaser or something of the sort for a new mainline Pokemon game. Also, like, okay, this is just something I want. I don't think we're going to get, but like a remake or remaster or whatever they would like to do for this, for Gale of Darkness. Pokemon Coliseum games like on the GameCube were so cool and so ahead of their time. I would love to see a new take on that. Even if it's not even a remake, like it's like they make a whole new original game for that. I just like seeing different spins on the Pokemon franchise. But yeah, I'm stoked. ZA looks really cool for what we know about it. I'm not a huge fan of like super open world games, to be honest. I had a hard time with Arceus. It was really fun. I keep on going back to it. But I had a hard time because I like more of a linear path with things. But I don't know. We'll see. I love Pokemon. I'm excited for Pokemon Day. And I think the theme is EVs this year, I think. That's what I've heard.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be the following, not this week, the following week. That would be on Thursday. So should see some kind of event happen that day. Probably just Pokemon Presents for 15 minutes or so, just going over updates and future projects. Release date for ZA most likely. But this week coming up, because that Pokemon Presents is the following week to close out February, people are kind of thinking there's going to be a direct this week. And the thing that's weird is it's like there's two sources mostly that people have been following around this. PH Brazil, Nate, of course, and he doesn't seem as sure that something's happening. Sean was trying to pit them against each other. It was crazy. There's a whole thing. So now everyone's trying to figure out what exactly could happen this week. And I actually don't think it's going to be I'd be surprised, I should say, that it would be a general direct. I kind of think it's going to be a direct and then something else. Direct, like a mini, a partner direct. Well, an indie showcase wouldn't surprise me either, to be honest.
I don't like that because I consider a direct mini and a direct to be the only difference is time. A direct is usually 40 minutes. A direct mini is like 20 to 25. And there's been some banger direct minis. Now, if you're talking about a third party, a partner showcase, motherfucking indie showcase, which, you know, Nintendo always knocks those out of the park. Then yeah, that's a bit different. But I think if it's just a mini, like that's fine. What do you really need?
Yeah, basically. I think it's going to be one of those direct, Sean, that's set up like I say mini. I think it's one that doesn't need to be announced beforehand. I think it's one that shows up, it's 15 minutes or something, and they just drop it online and that's it. Move on. So I'm thinking, as you're mentioning, what do you really need? Because April 2nd, they're going to have their big Switch 2 blowout. That's where all the attention's going to be. But the games they announced there, they're not shadow dropping anything there. It's like all of a sudden, oh yeah, these games are out next week or something. No, it's
and most of them are probably going to be remakes and remasters. So
yeah,
PS5 owners will feel right at home.
the direct this week that I assume could happen, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, shadow drop maybe, and it's like a 15-minute thing. Hey, here's that what's that Zelda collection we've been hearing about all generation?
Here, both of them individually for $60. Go fuck yourself.
But we do need a Metroid release date, and if that's not a Switch 2 thing where they're going to show it there, and oh yeah, it's cross-gen, I gotta start thinking about that release date. And I do think you need Metroid 2 and 3, Prime 2 and 3.
It's good.
That's
Prime
kind of
2 and 3. Your
right
Zeldas and Robobot. There you go. There's your 15 minutes. $60 a piece. So you don't like
Kirby.
It? Go suck a lemon. Well, no, Metroids will be $40 a piece, but Kirby, that's a 60. Zelda, that's a 60.
Kirby has to be 60.
And then
I mean, they did it with
Real
DK.
Deal Baseball
for $10.
Closing things out.
That's kind of the thing now, is it could be legitimately all kinds of random stuff in there, and it's gonna be really difficult to predict. What was that?
Celia, snubbing the fan.
What's your screen name? I got like a shit ton of like invites, and then I panicked and then didn't look at it again.
Stealing games.
Wait a minute? Did you post that on your social account?
I don't know.
Hold your phone up with the identifier on the screen right now. There you go. Then good luck.
I dare you.
I'll look for you, Spyro. Is your screen name the same as your your username?
It's probably some heinous screen name, some like old school Xbox 360.
At
like,
Sniffer
oh, how did-
69.
Probably.
Yeah, that's kind of the direct I'm expecting. It's not going to be anything crazy, but it'll be enough to start to fill the gaps until we were thinking end of May, beginning of June for that Switch 2 release. That's once they
End
do
of May.
End of May and June, somewhere in there, right? Like that there's like a 3-week window in there. End of May, midway through June. I don't think they're a release thing in July. So somewhere in there, right? Last week of May, first 2 weeks of June, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm thinking June.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So I
that's
can't find you. Sorry.
Oh, so once that happens, it's like full speed ahead there, and maybe it's also where we get Metroid Prime Beyond. That's why Tales of Symphonia was so much fun for Sean.
I didn't steal it. Rob stole it.
Wait, Sean, you steal games and you've accused me of stealing
I
games?
did not steal Tales of
The
Symphonia.
hypocrite.
Rob.
Sean was the
You
lookout.
know,
I was the
you
unintentional
guilt
lookout.
in your eyes.
I mean,
feel
I
like this
stole
is
games. No,
projecting.
I
Yeah,
did steal
look in the
games.
It
camera.
was part
Someone
of his
clip that.
little-
Hold
It was
on,
part of
Sean.
his Thieves Guild.
From Sam
Hold on,
Goody.
everyone.
I used to steal from Sam Goody all the time because I worked there previously. So I knew the lack of security that they had. And I would get really stoned in high school. And
So
Sam
it was
Goody,
an inside job.
Sam Goody was right the shopping center
Interesting.
was right next to the high school. So if I wanted a magazine or something to read during second period, I'd go in there. And of course, I was wearing some baggy ass jeans with fucking Tim's on and shit. So I'd slide the magazine down my pant leg. We'd go in there, take games, and
Incognito.
CDs. I would be the only person in the store, but I didn't fucking care because whatever.
For legal reasons, this is all for entertainment purposes.
I mean, Sam Goody's not
is
even a company
alleged.
anymore. So
Do you think they saw you doing it, Sean, and they were just like, oh gosh,
They
it's
knew
still
they
gonna-
were on the way out. They're just like,
It's
"That's
just nobody,
fine."
everyone that worked there, nobody gave a fuck. I knew most of the people.
Oh man,
No one wanted to be a hero.
No.
wild.
Well, let me see if there's any other.
I got in a fist fight there once.
Of course you did.
Why?
I mean, it's a Sam
What did you
Goody. I
do?
feel like that's everyone's story.
So I wasn't working there. I only worked there for holiday season, but the holiday season was good because they actually sold like guitars and video games and stuff like that, and you got really good discounts around the holiday season. But no, I was with this girl and we were going to Sam Goody because Jada Kiss the Game Goodbye had just came out and she wanted to buy it. And I'm like, all right. So we were driving up there, and the way you would go in was there was the entryway was like here, and there was lanes for people leaving and lanes for people entering. So I'm going in the way to enter, and some dude is like coming like straight on, like head on to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is this idiot doing? So I start honking the horn and flicking him off and shit. And he backs up. And then I pull into Sam Goody into the parking lot, and she's like, this dude's following you. I'm like, just ignore him. Some older guy, probably like 35, 40 years old, like my age now. So we're walking into the store, and Punk Rock Mike was working. Mike was the roadie for Masturbating in Public, which was the local punk rock band that Codeman and Pete, who killed people, and then he ended up going to jail. He was the lead singer of Punk Rock Pete.
Okay, he ended up going to
these are always
jail.
the best
Is a band
tangents.
name? Wait,
No,
I don't know.
Masturbating
No.
in Public is the band name.
That's the band.
Going to
The
jail.
Going to jail is the thing that occurred.
Because he killed two
okay.
people. Yeah, he killed
Yeah.
two people. Then he killed himself in jail. R.I.P. Pete. But Punk Rock Mike was working. He was like, and I walked in, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Because I knew him because I used to go to the punk shows all the time at the skate park because I was skating. And he was like, yo, what's up with this guy? He looks really pissed off. He's coming in here. I'm like, hey, man, just watch it. Like, he almost hit us out in the parking lot. So the dude comes in and he starts like screaming and getting in my face. And I'm just like looking at him. I'm like, is this dude really like he kind of had like a smell on his breath, like he had been drinking or something like that. So I was like, man, I don't really want to do this. And then he took a swing at me. And so I started, fighting him. The girl's sitting there like freaking out and stuff like that. And so Mike ends up coming for her because Mike was the only one working. I'm sitting on top of the dude. I'm like, stop it. Stop fighting back. And he's just trying to like wiggle out and stuff. Mike comes over. He starts kicking him and shit. He's like, I'll fucking call the cops on you, you piece of shit. I'll lie about this whole thing. And so the dude ends up like running out of the store like all bloodied and shit.
Why do I have to keep teaching you this lesson, old man?
I was like, he was like, what the fuck happened? And I told him, I was like, yeah, he was going out the entryway and almost ran into me. So I flicked him off and honked the horn. I guess he was pissed off. He's, I think he's drunk. He's like, yeah, he smelled pretty drunk. But then we ended up buying the CD, and very good album. If you've never listened to Get a Kiss the
All
Game
this
Goodbye.
happened in the middle of the aisle,
it was
the
at the
CDs
front of
around?
the store. The front of the store. So the front of the store, it was a bit more open. The music was here. The cash register was kind of at the front. The video games were off to the side, and the music and the movies and stuff were towards the back of the store. So we didn't even pick up the album yet. The album wasn't even in hand yet.
Well, at least there was a good ending to the story, Sean. You got your CD.
Great album, man.
Well, that's
knock yourself out. You goddamn right. No, I did buy it. Mike was working. Mike's my boy.
All right. There you go. I think maybe we'll end on that for the show. Thanks, Sean.
Go team.
We go around here. Celia, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Celia B with 3 E's. You can also find me on Game and Talk. We'll do an episode eventually. Probably next week, Sean. Right, Sean? Yeah.
Yeah. This upcoming week.
Yeah. And then lastly, for work stuff, I work for Yacht Club Games, and we're at Yacht Club Games on everything. I mentioned earlier, so I don't have to do the whole spiel, but the Shovel Knight concert's happening. So at the end of the week, I'll probably miss the next Spawncast because I'll be on a flight to New York because the concert's happening that Saturday. It's going to be really fun. So if you're able to go and you're local to the New York area, you should check it out. The music's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. ShovelKnightConcert.com. Okay, that's my thing.
Maybe they'll drop the direct on Wednesday just ahead of Game and Talk. That would work out. Cool. That'd be nice. What about Sean? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on RGT85, talking about things. You can also find us on Analog Allies, which is a podcast I do with my editor, Brett, who doesn't really edit much for me anymore, but I pay him every month, so I got to get some money out of him somehow. That was really the reason I came up with that show. Like, I'm not really using you that much, yet I'm still paying you every month. So we're gonna do a podcast. I'm gonna get my money's worth. But he uploads it to the fucking audio stuff, so it makes it worth it. So you can find me on there. Glad to be here with this packed panel of esteemed members.
See, there you go. What about Evan?
You can find me on YouTube at Kimmerix Project if you're into tabletop stuff. Probably have some videos coming out soon. Might start streaming again. I don't know.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back on Friday next week. So Saturday because of Valentine's Day again yesterday. So next week, though, Friday, maybe we'll have direct or other things happening this week. We'll see. But we'll be back then. We'll catch you guys later.